If you are thinking about possibly making the move to Hull, Massachusetts, you're going to want to watch this video as I go through the pros and cons of living in this seaside community. If you've been thinking about making the move to Hull, Massachusetts, whether it's a full-time residence or even a summertime beachside home, you're going to want to understand all of the things about what makes Hull, Massachusetts, the good and the bad. And I've got you covered here in this video, so stay tuned as we go through all of the details that you definitely need to understand before moving to Hull. And by the way, my name is Sean Murphy with Living on the South Shore and Real. And if you have any questions whatsoever, not only just about Hull, but about the South Shore in general, this is what I specialize in. This is where I live. This is where I'm raising my family. So any questions, my contact info is below. You can text me, email me, or even get a phone call scheduled. But without further ado, let's get into the details about Hull, Massachusetts. The first thing we're going to talk about here is the location and the accessibility. Now, Hull is sandwiched right in between Cohasset and Hingham. It is a straight peninsula out into the ocean, so you are surrounded by water on three sides. Now, the proximity to Boston is a huge plus. The best way to commute is right from the ferry that leaves from the outer part of Hull, right by the high school. You can take this ferry right into the city. You can also take it into the Hingham shipyard to make it a little bit easier. If you're driving or if you're taking the train, depending on where you are in Hull, it could be a quick 5 to 10 minute drive to the train station if you're in the southern part of Hull. But if you're all the way out at the northern tip, that could take you upwards of 30 to 35 minutes just to get to the train station to then hop on the train and get into the city. So depending on where you are in town is a huge difference when it comes to getting in and out if you're going to commute into the city, or even if you're going, to the grocery store if you're going out of town. The difference in the northern part versus the southern part is huge. That being said, if you were buying a seasonal home here, a summer home, you literally can't go wrong. There's one side that's all the beach, the Nantasket beach side, and then there's the bay side that looks at World's End, it looks at all the islands over there. So if you're looking for a seasonal home, the commuting, the driving in and out of town, it doesn't matter. Everything during the summertime is open. All the restaurants are open. All the coffee shops are open. The ability to get in and out of town won't matter as much. If this is a year-round residence though, you definitely need to factor in where in town you're going to go, because that will dictate the commute if you're going to the city, or just the drivability and accessibility to the other towns and getting out of Hull. The next thing we're going to talk about is the housing market. Now, as I mentioned, depending on what you're looking for, whether it's a year-round residence or it's a seasonal summer home, it will definitely vary on what you're probably going to be looking for. The average home sale price in 2024, for example, was right around $670,000. So compared to Hingham, compared to Cohasset, the price point here much lower. It's typically about 50% of what those towns are averaging. But that being said, some of these homes, if you're looking for something on the ocean front, you're going to be paying a premium price. If you're looking for something on the bay side that is right on the water, same thing. You're going to be paying up for those views and for that water accessibility. Now, the other thing you have to take into account is if the home you're looking at requires flood insurance. Now, if it does, this is going to affect your overall cost of buying a home there. You have yearly flood insurance you have to pay for, and that will vary depending on what part of town you're looking in. So make sure if you're looking in Hull, you gotta have a real estate agent that understands the town, it understands what parts of town require this flood insurance, because again, that goes to the bottom line no matter what you're looking to buy. Next up, let's talk about the lifestyle and community here. Now, of course, like I mentioned, this is a peninsula. You're surrounded by water, so this is a very laid back, coastal type of town, and it's got a very tight community of people. A lot of them have lived here for generations, and then of course you have some of the new residents that are coming in that are buying seasonal homes, or they're just moving here year round because they're recognizing the beauty of living in this town and being surrounded by water 24/7. But like I mentioned, this is a very tight-knit community. You will find a lot of community events that happen, but you also just get that classic neighborly love. You need some help with something, the neighbors will be there to help you. You're going, to a restaurant in town or the grocery store, you're going to run into neighbors and have a conversation and catch up. It's just a very tight-knit community. It's been that way for generations. Next up is the school system in Hull. Now, this school system has been getting better and better every single year. Last year was ranked 78th out of 405 Massachusetts schools, and I believe the prior year it was about 115. So these schools are getting better and better every single year. Now, this is a smaller school system. The population of Hull is about 10,000 people, and again, those aren't all year-round residents. So it's a smaller school system, which also means smaller class sizes and more attention for the students. But one of the things that I love is the unbelievable location of the Hull High School. Now, as you can see here, look at this stadium. The stadium was just redone. This field was just redone. It's surrounded by water. Now, that is a good thing and also a bad thing. If there's some bad weather rolling through, this is a very cold location. But during the warm time in New England here, this is an incredible spot. And I can't even imagine the views that you have on a daily basis going to school at Hull High School. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is the beach and, of course, the outdoor recreation that you have here in Hull. Now, the ocean side of Hull, you have Nantasket Beach. This is, again, one of the most popular beaches on the South Shore. It's a beautiful and incredible spot. It reminds me, I grew up in southern New York. We used to go to the Jersey Shore growing up, and it is that kind of beach. It is a huge beach, and especially when the tide goes out, it is so big. There is plenty of room for everybody and all the activities that you can think of. Now, Nantasket itself is one of the top locations for surfing in the area, so when those swells do come through, this is a great beach with some great waves. Kids go boogie boarding, they learn how to surf here. But then there's guys, old guys like me, that will get out there and we'll catch some waves and have some fun as well. But aside from Nantasket Beach, on the other side, you have the Bayside. There's a lot of marinas over there, a lot of boating happens, a lot of stand-up paddle boarding, kayaking. A lot of people will leave the areas of Hull and they'll kayak over to World's End, located in Hingham there. There's a lot of activity in the summertime, especially on the water. Next up is dining and entertainment. Now, of course, as I mentioned, Hull is a very seasonal type of town. It's becoming more and more as a year-round resident for more and more people every year, but obviously it's much more vibrant in the summer. That being said, a lot of these restaurants are starting to stay open year-round. Three of my favorites: the Parrot, right across from Nantasket Beach. It has a perfect Hawaiian tropical vibe to it. It's got multiple levels, multiple bars, but my favorite part about it is its rooftop deck. You can go up there in the summertime and get a table. There's also a bar up there where they open up these windows to get the ocean breeze coming in, and you have unobstructed views of the ocean. It's one of my favorite spots on the South Shore, and it's also where I host my halfway to summer party every single year up on that third floor for anybody that just wants to celebrate almost making it through the winter and get into summertime. Next up is Jake's Seafood. Jake's Seafood has been here for generations, and it is a fantastic spot. It's on the Bayside of Hull, but it's right on the water. There's people that will literally ride their boats straight to Jake's, dock it up, and then they go inside and have a meal. But this is a classic old school family environment with great seafood and great food. And they also have a takeout section where you can just go in and buy some fresh seafood, go home and cook it yourself. And of course, my favorite breakfast spot in Hull is Toast. It's right at the beginning of Hull before you get to Nantasket Beach. Great family spot. It's an awesome spot for breakfast. You know, a lot of people around here, they either go to Toast in Hull or they go to Stars in Hingham. But either one, you can't go wrong, but Toast is a great spot. So there you have it, guys. There are some of the things that you definitely need to know before considering moving to Hull, whether it's going to be a year-round residence or just a seasonal home that you're looking to purchase. But it's a beautiful and incredible place to live. You have so much that Hull offers, whether it's being on the water, the beach activity, just the views in general, or the dining and the entertainment. So I hope this video has helped you and given you a little bit more information about Hull. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if you have any further questions, my contact information is below. You can also just leave a comment on this video and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I specialize in the South Shore of Massachusetts here, and I live here as well. I spend a lot of time in Hull at Nantasket Beach, whether it's surfing, whether it's going to the Parrot, Jake's, Toast, all of those things. Me and my family, we love going to Hull. So any questions you have, do not hesitate to reach out. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.